the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the world's life. A direct consequence is the digital version of the Frankfurt Book Fair and the shift of the Canadian guest of honor to the Frankfurt Book Fair in 2021. Therefore, I am very happy to speak with you, His Excellency Stéphane Dion. You are Canada's ambassador to Germany and special envoy to Europe and the European Union. And I want to speak with you about the situation of COVID-19 and the pandemic in Canada and how Canada managed the impact of the pandemic, especially on education. Your Excellency, Mr. Dion, you are a diplomat, a political scientist, and a politician. And before you becoming an ambassador to Germany in 2017, you served as Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, and you were responsible that you championed Canada as a global leader in the promotion of human rights and peace, stability efforts, and especially of global climate action. And now, did you ever thought of a pandemic that would change the daily life of thousands of people or millions of people all over the world?
Guten Morgen, Frau Plötz. It's a pleasure to speak to you. It's sad that we are speaking on this topic, although if I foresaw that, no. If I was aware that it may happen, yes, and we were all aware. We had other problems before, H1N1, and we had Krise. And so it was not completely unexpected. And countries, governments try to prepare themselves. But to prepare to something like this in 2020, that is paralyzing our economies, affecting the life of everyone, preventing people to meet, to travel, to have access to the health system, to the education system that they used to, attacking countries that are very poor, don't have the institutions that we have and the ability that we have to face the virus, a virus that is very unknown in its consequences. It's a learning curve in which we are, and it's why, as an ambassador in Germany and a special envoy for Europe, I want to make sure that Canadians and Europeans are optimally able to learn from each other, to learn from the best practices, including, as you said, about schools, about all the daily life. How can we cope with it? And how can we cooperate to find this vaccine that we so much need?
Yes, but one of the problems we have already mentioned is education. Canada is the second largest country in the world and has 38 million inhabitants. How looks the infection rate of COVID-19 actually in Canada? And what are the big challenges which faces Canada now?
I don't know, Frau Plötz, if we may show the table that compare the situation in Germany and Canada and other countries on the screen. Okay, I see that. So yeah. What we see, I think the best indicator, the most precise indicator, I should say, is the fatality rate per 100,000 inhabitants. So in Germany, for 100,000 inhabitants, you have had up to now 11 fatalities, and 11 people who lost their life because of the virus. In Canada, it's 25 for 100,000 people, so it's higher in Canada. It's still better than in the other comparable countries. In France, as you see, it's 47. In Italy, US, United Kingdom, and Spain is between 50 and 65. So Canada and Germany, in comparison with the other countries, it's better, but it's still very sad. The other comparison I would do is that both in Germany and Canada, in France, Italy, US, and all the countries, it is the senior people that are the most vulnerable for the disease. We need to protect them. It's very important. It's about, if I look the numbers I have here, it's about 90% in Germany and Canada and so other countries, 90% of the people that are passing away because of the disease are 60-year-old or more, 90%. And it's between 60 and 70% more than 80-year-old and more. So we need to protect them, to be very, very, very careful. And another things that we see in Germany and in Canada is the difference, the variation between the Länder in Germany, and we call them the provinces in Canada, but it's the same, the unit, the federal unities. So in Germany, the number I have here, the land where the fatality rate has been the lowest, it's Saxony-Anhalt, with three persons per 100,000 who passed away because of the disease of the virus. And the highest one is Bayern with 20. So the gap is between 3 and 20. That's this discrepancy you have in Germany. In Canada, it's much more than that. We have many provinces where there is zero fatality. Nobody died. But in one province, my province, Quebec, the fatality rate is 68 for 100,000. 68, it's more than Spain.
Yes.
And in Quebec, it is Montreal that has been affected. And in Montreal, it's almost only at a rate of 90% senior residences. So we had a problem with our senior residences in Montreal. It's why in Canada it's higher than elsewhere. It shows to us how much we need to protect the seniors in our countries. And like in Germany and in France and everywhere, we have seen during the month of August, continuing in September, a new increase of the active cases. It's more the younger people.
Yes.
So the fatality rate did not grow as the same speed than the active cases. And the hospitalization rate did not increase at the same speed as well. But the problem is that some of these younger people are very ill. It's dangerous for them as well. And also they infect the senior people that are more vulnerable. So our governments in Germany, in Canada, and elsewhere are trying to cope with all this because they want to avoid to paralyze the economy again. So many people lost their job. So many people lost their business. They don't want to have a general lockdown, but they want to target the problems in order to be sure that we will not have a second wave of fatality rate. That's where we are in Germany and in Canada, and it shows how much we need to cooperate to identify the best policies, the best practices, and how to speed up the cure, the vaccination that we need to have as soon as possible.
But there, I think that it's the first time that all the nations work together to find the cure, to find the serum to help against the coronavirus.
Well, we have an habit of working together, or your infection centrum and or council of research. They have the habit to work together, but now they need to work together more than ever. Yeah. That's the point. And it's why an embassy like ours, we do our best to connect these scientists. It's my job changed as your job changed, I'm sure, in the last year. I'm not doing the same kind of diplomacy that I was doing a year ago because we are focusing so much on this terrible problem.
Yeah. And this problem occurred especially to children, I think. It's with the closures of schools. So what we already know is the Canadian education system is ranked among the best in the world, with the nation's students coming 7th overall in the PISA 15 studies, 2015. So you have an excellent education system. And you are also have the problem with the closing of schools. All over the world, there were 186 countries where 1.2 billion children could not go to school, were really affected by the school closures. And in Germany, we have the school closures from the 16th of March on, and we started again with after the summer holidays. With the school reopenings, but with a really high hygiene rules. and they were like, I think, like in your country, different in our different countries by each of the federal states of Germany. And Canada has the same, has 10 provinces and 3 territories, and where there are also a lot of difference between these territories and provinces, and in education and schools, with hygiene rules and anything else.
You described the situation in Germany, Plötz, exactly as I will describe the situation in Canada. Schools close in March and they reopen in the weeks after, but online. And it continued until end of June. And in September, almost everywhere, it depends, because like in Germany, it's a Länder policy. In Canada, it's a provincial policy. So it's not necessarily the same everywhere, but I would say that the pattern is that schools are reopened now, but with distancing, washing hands, masks, all the precautions possible. The view is the disease is dangerous for the children, although they are less affected than senior people, as I said before, but they also may infect the seniors and their families after. So we need to be sure that children and teachers and all the personnel working in the school are as safe as possible, but they need to go to school. It's very needed for them. And we'll see if it's possible to continue this way. Many parents are very concerned. Like in Germany, we have seen the same kind of debate, but at the end of the day, kids need to go to school, and we are making it as safe as possible.
We have had a big conference yesterday in Germany that they decided not to close the schools at any way. They tried to open the school or let the school open, and to make it in parts that if there is infections, that they're only a part of the school children has to be in quarantine and the others can go on. Is this similar in Canada?
Oh, at the very moment that there is a signal of a problem, if a child has the virus, then, oh yes, we take all the precautions needed. We have another problem is 140,000 children are international students in Canada. They cannot come. And among them, 3,000 Germans.
Yeah.
So at the embassy, we have the bad news to communicate to parents and children for your safety and safety of everyone. This year, it will be very difficult to accommodate these international children. That's a very sad thing.
Yeah, that's bad. I hope that will end soon. But I think Canada has a better solution than Germany. While the schools were closed, the children has to learn at home, and homeschooling seemed to be the solution. E-learning, virtual learning, spread it more than ever before. And Canada is, contrary to Germany, better equipped for e-learning. The government invests a lot in the third level education. And then is the question, what could Germany learn from Canada, from Canada's successes in e-learning and digitization?
The digital learning, e-learning, and digital healthcare also. We developed that by necessity. Our country is very large, very big, distances, very hard winter, very remote areas. And for all these reasons, we had to develop this technology, and it's not perfect. I am a teacher myself. I've been professor of university before coming in the public life. And so I have a lot of acquaintances with other professors and teachers in Canada and Germany and elsewhere. And everybody is saying it's much more difficult by e-learning. So we need to handle the technology, and the consequences may be very difficult for the students in difficulties. So we have an experience about that. But I must say that your governments in Germany are now investing massively in digitalization, in e-learning. And so we have a lot of opportunities to learn from each other again on this file. We have a lot of private companies in Canada that develop quite a good expertise. I have some to mention. Robotel about digital learning platforms, D2L about learning analytics, and bright space about multimedia content. So we are making sure that public and private sector in Canada and in Germany and the rest of Europe are well connected, because yes, this disease, this virus, it's a terrible tragedy, but it's also an opportunity to develop new skills. And digitalization is something we need to handle very well. And it's an opportunity to speed up our ability to do so. Yeah. And I would say the same about the sustainable economy, the green economy we need to develop. To be very sad if the rebound, because when we'll have the virus, hopefully our economies will start again. They have not been stopped by the economic problems, they have been stopped by us. It's self-inflicted by governments willing to protect their populations, their public health imperative, paralyze the economies. But after we'll have a rebound. Do we want an economy as polluting as the one we have today, or do we want to switch with something that will protect our environment and also ourselves against the lack of biodiversity and climate change? Yes, we want. So we want to develop new plans for hydrogen, new plans for green technologies, and that's an opportunity that we should not miss in Germany, in Canada, and elsewhere. And we will not miss it if we work together. If each country wants to find the solutions for itself alone, it will not work. So my job again, as a diplomat in Europe and in Germany, is to help our governments and our private sectors and our universities, our scientists, to be in strong connection.
Yes, I hope that it will succeed, because I think that will be a really great task to make the climate really better, to let it help the climate. But what also appeared in this crisis was the social differences. In Germany, it's a big problem. We see it that the social, from lower income families, the children really lack the help, the support, because they don't have the same possibilities to have the access to digital education. And so we have a big problem with this, and that's occurred now in this crisis. What's the situation in Canada about the children from lower income families and the differences between them in education?
Exactly the way you described it in Germany. Again, our two countries are very alike, and it's why we need to cooperate and to stay close friends in these difficulties. In Germany, like in Canada, 95% of the households have access to internet. 95%.
Oh, that's very much.
Yeah, no. In Germany and Canada, people have access to internet, almost everybody, and about 90% of the people have at least one computer at home. But that means that 10% don't. And the 10%, as you said, are likely to be in the lower income population. And one computer, when you have 3 kids at home, is not the same that when each child has her or his computer in the bedroom, and each of them having its own bedroom. So no, you're completely right to say that we're in a situation where the lower income populations, the less educated population, are more vulnerable. And as a teacher, I know very well that when you meet the children, or in my case, it was students at university, but yeah, still children, we will be children all our life. It's very important to meet them, especially the ones in difficulty. The good students will find a way. The ones that may be good, if you give them the push, the incentive, the motivation, the way to speak to them, the way to encourage them to read the good stuff and to improve their writing and so on. These ones, it's very difficult to support them by e-learning. There are ways to do so. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not the same than when you are looking people in the eyes and face to face. Yes. It's very frustrating for a teacher, I know. And these children that have limited access to internet and to a computer, you need to keep that in mind and to find a way to be sure that they will be supported. And it's not easy. It's not easy in Germany, not easy in Canada. And again, it's why we need to encourage our teachers and academics to be in close relationship and to see how they cope with these difficulties.
Yeah. I think that are very good closing words that we should and we must cooperate together to find the best solutions. So, dear Ambassador Dion, thanks a lot for giving us an insight in the situation of Canada and education and the COVID-19. Thanks a lot and have a good time and keep safe and healthy.
Oh, the same for you, Frau Plötz, the same, and thank you so much. Auf Wiedersehen.